The Life to Legacy Explained free virtual series brought to you in part by the Chip Reverse Mortgage by Home Equity Bank.
How do we turn an ordinary life into an extraordinary legacy? We have to consider how and when we use our money. Patty Levitt-Reid brings a wealth of financial experience to the role of Chief Financial Commentator for Home Equity Bank. She was formerly a senior Canadian banking executive as well as a regular financial commentator and host of her own TV show. Welcome, Patty.
Hi, Natasha.
It's going to be
an
easy interview.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
We'll see how it goes. So how has the perspective on inheritance shifted in recent years? So are more people still wanting to provide support to their heirs while they're still alive versus after they go?
You know, it is interesting because I've been in this business for a long, long time, and there has been a transition go on. What I can tell you is, and it's a line that was said to me by someone who actually reached out to me on Instagram, and they said, I don't want to die the richest person in the graveyard. And I thought about that, but what they really meant when we explored it further was they wanted to leave a legacy that was beyond money. And you know, you've had great guests on and we've talked about the legacy and how you leave things. And if you set it up right, you think about the tax considerations, you actually go a step further and you communicate it. Many have told me that's the easy part. The legacy that they want to live and they want to see is the enjoyment that their heirs will get from some of their life work and the money they've accumulated, but it's about experience, about who they are, and that's become more and more important.
And so when we talk about the concept of the bank of mom and dad, my mom over there, I love using her bank account.
Oh yeah. I have children like that as well. Thank you. Yeah.
How can it be a valuable way to elevate your legacy? And again, talking about that like living piece of the legacy and then also after.
You know, it is very interesting what's going on here in Canada. We have a lot of people who bought homes years and years and years ago, and they have a lot of equity built up in their home, but they may not have a lot of assets. You can't eat a brick in retirement. And part of the reason I joined the home equity team was because I all of a sudden found there was a solution for people. And it was, to be honest with you, not a solution that I ever looked at before when I was a senior vice president at a bank. I kind of thought, taking equity out of your home, I'm not so sure that makes sense. And then as I started to explore it, I realized that people want to take equity out of their home, in some cases, to live, to satisfy debts. But to your point, to help be the bank of mom and dad, to help their children get a home, or if they're grandparents, to put their children through a post-secondary education, or their children's children through, depending on the age. So it's fascinating to me that they have access to resources that they maybe never thought they did, and that's an important part of a legacy.
I think it's a huge part of a legacy. Like I remember once telling, I think it was my cousin or a friend who was having a baby, I said, I think the best thing you can do is buy like a pre-sale condo or an investment when the baby is born, you know, something that's not too expensive, but it's going to help build that legacy. And it's something that when they turn 18, like because of where we live, will be worth a lot of money. And I think, I'm sure you know what the stats are, that there's the percentage of people who are buying their first home and the gift that they get from their parents. Like it's a lot of people, but that's a huge part of a living legacy.
It is very much, because also the parents get to enjoy their life work through their family, through their children. You know, I am the least popular grandparent going. We have six grandchildren. We have six grandchildren, all under the age of 4, just for the record. 5 boys and 1 girl, but that's not what this is about. Why am I the least popular? Because I know they don't need another toy, a designer outfit. They don't.
Well, we all need more designer
outfits,
okay,
let's be fair. Yeah. Okay.
As you and I sit on the room, I don't need more clothing.
Let's put that into perspective. But what they will need is an education.
Right.
And so my husband and I decided, as part of our legacy, that for every Christmas and birthday and holiday or special occasion, we put money into a registered education savings plan for them, because to us, that's part of our legacy. But not only that, how you've heard people say, it's about quality of time. No, I don't agree with that. I think it's quantity of time. It is the little things that I want our grandchildren to remember me by. And so, for example, we have a family cottage. And our little guy, who's 2, almost 3, who is mini me, it's so funny because what I often think is that, what do you want to do? Do you want to go out on the boat? Do you want to go to the cottage? Da, 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 da. And so when I ask him at the end of a weekend when he's been at the cottage, what was so great about it? What did you enjoy, Sam? And he just looks at me and he goes, when we went for a walk, and this is, he's 2.5, and this is how he speaks. When we went for a walk and we saw the beaver dam, and we talked about, I don't even know if it was a beaver dam. I told him it was. And then we talked about beavers, and then we looked it up.
He'll never fact check it, so
and that's exactly what I'm counting on. He's a pretty smart little guy. But my point is, it's the little things.
It is.
It's about the family experiences, and it's being present. And it's not just on the holidays. It is so much more than that. And so when you have financial flexibility in your life, it frees you up to do the things that give your life more balance and meaning. And so you build the legacy. I talk to people about it, and they say to me all the time, it is being present, it's being part of their life, and I never realized I could take some of the equity out of my home to allow me that financial freedom to have the family cottage, to do the family vacation, to go and see my children. It could be on a more regular basis, particularly if they're out of town. And so to me, that is very, very powerful. It really stuck with me.
And even going back to the RESP, the Registered Education Savings Plan,
Yeah.
like my mother worked at a bank, my dad worked at a mill, and it was the best thing they could have done for me
Yes.
for my undergrad. And of course, when my master's came around, they're like, you're working, you can pay for that yourself.
Yeah, well,
But,
come on, I get that, right? There comes a point, enough already.
But it's a big
that's
help.
True, yes.
And when I went to school a bazillion years ago, tuition was a lot cheaper, but I think that's one of the best things you could do. But I do want to talk about
Yes.
memories, because even with my own stepson, like he's almost 15, and for him, that family time is so important. And so family vacations and shared experiences with children and grandchildren are cherished memories, as you spoke about. So how can individuals, again, leverage their resources to create these legacy moments? So like, what are some of the legacy moments that you've created, like the fake beaver dam?
Well, thank you. That's what I'm now going to be remembered for. It's sitting down with our grandson who's 8 months old and me going, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And now he's clapping his hands, in case anybody didn't know that, based on how I just sung it. But, that's what it's about. It is all about those memories. It's having the flexibility in your life that maybe if you've worked full-time and you'd like to go part-time because you still want to bring money in, but you want to have that time to go to soccer, to go to their swimming lessons, to be the cheerleader on the sideline saying, you got this. But it's also about teaching them things. When you think about boomers, they have tremendous experience. They've traveled more. They've experienced more. They want to do more. And they want to share more.
Yes.
And it's about sharing more. And every family is going to be different. And how we deal with each of our grandchildren and even our own children. We have 4 adults that are all married and in relationships. And so different children get things at different times, but it is about equality, it's about your values, and it's also giving back to charity.
And when you talk about the charity piece, like, what does that look like for you?
It has evolved because what might have been a blanket motherhood statement, I'm going to write a check of X amount of dollars to this particular charity. It's since evolved because we've had an opportunity through life to say, okay, these are our values. This is what we care about. This is what has impacted our life. This is how we can communicate it to the charity, what is to come down the road. We like to give of ourselves. And sometimes it can change on an annual basis. You can see something going on or share it with your family and let them get involved in it as well. And sometimes it's about helping in your own backyard, or it's about doing something on a global basis. Very quickly, I can tell you there was a small business owner in our neighborhood that we knew wasn't going to make it. We didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but we tried to help them financially, and we did, and they did make it. But what I found most fascinating was communicating that to our adult children. Here's what we have done for this family. And we're not telling you for any other reason other than, you know, this is what we're doing. Here's what they did. They all came back and said, we'd like to contribute. Different amounts, smaller amounts, but it's all about the life lesson. Mother's Day, I ran a 10K.
Good for you.
Thank you very much.
If I'm ever running, please know you should also be running because I'm running away from something.
No. Okay, fair enough. I love
Yeah,
that.
just join
well,
me.
But here's the thing. For Mother's Day this year, it was a Sporting Life 10K. I said to my family, I do not want a gift from you. Well, I do, but I don't expect a gift because what I'd really like you to do is donate to Campfire Circle for children with cancer or severe illness so they can go away for a week. We all have children. You have children. And that to me means a lot. And that's what they did. And so, again, it's about brokering in the values of giving back, how you give back. And I get back to my statement that when you have a little financial flexibility, that's where all of a sudden your life has a lot more balance and meaning.
So one of the things I want to talk about that people don't often think about when we think about legacy is a vacation home. And so
Yes, I
it's
know.
at top of mind for me because my brother and I actually just finished building a vacation home in the interior of BC. And it's, for us, we saw it as a place, you know, for our family to go. And my parents are both retired. My dad was super involved for the whole process because we did the build ourselves. But, you know, it's a different thing to think about when you think of leaving a legacy. And I know we had spoken about it in some of our pre-meetings. So could you speak a little bit about how a vacation home can help you leave a legacy?
Well, you know, to me, that takes life from an ordinary to extraordinary because it's in those moments. It's sitting on the dock and having a conversation or a cup of coffee and just chatting about life. You know, one of the things, and you've got the book beside you, so I'm so glad you have Home Run there.
I do.
I love this book, but I didn't always. And so when it was written by Yvonne and her co-author, Steve, I thought it was fascinating because she asked me if I would contribute to the book. And this was before I was involved with home equity. And I said, well, you can lift anything off the internet, as we've been talking, because I'm often quoted out there, and use it. Nothing else was ever said about it. Then I joined the company as their chief financial commentator, and they said, you might want to read this book. So I did, from cover to really understand the product. And the reason I'm bringing it up is that I always thought people took equity out of their home because they were living very close to the margin and they needed it. No, they do it to build the family vacation, to send the children to post-secondary education, to do the family vacation, all of these things. There are so many reasons. And by the way, I was in the book. I'm on the plane, literally going on vacation, going, oh my gosh, it's almost like telegraphing. Right. I'm in this book saying something now I truly understand and believe that it took a while for me to embrace. And I now get that this is the right product for the right person that wants to build a legacy. And that legacy is personal. It's so personal.
I actually received a copy of this book during our last filming and did start reading it on the plane on the ride home. And it's great because it does start to give amazing stories and ways of, you know, leaving that legacy in different ways. And I do want to let everyone know in the audience with us today and online that you can get a free copy of the book.
Yes, free.
So you can call a phone number that we have here. So it's 1-833-357-2447. And I'll repeat that, 1-833-357-2447. I'm not Oprah, but I do recommend the book.
Okay, but I also recommend it. And I want to be Oprah, but that's okay. No.
Don't we all?
Yeah, right.
Don't we all?
Okay.
So I did want to ask, as
Yes.
we started talking about the book, the CHIP Reverse Mortgage offers an opportunity to improve one's quality of life while maintaining title on an asset that can also leave a financial legacy. So how does that product work? So we've talked about it, we've kind of dipped into it a little bit.
You know, if you're over the age of 55, you can take up to 55% of the value of your home out. and you can stay in your home. And there has been so much research, particularly coming out of COVID, that many want to stay in their home. And it's their home.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the legacy and the memories, it's all of that. And so it's one of those products that people have shied away from because they haven't understood it. But I think now when we look at real estate prices, you look at the fact that inflation is high, debt levels are high, and I've looked at it for seniors, and it continues to go higher and higher. And some of the red flags for seniors, you may have a parent and you don't know their exact financial situation, it's when they start to withdraw from family events, especially if you have to bring a gift to a grandchild and you simply don't have the money, or you don't have the money to socialize. And so there are products that we call sunset products and sunrise products, at least in my mind. And this is one that is coming into its own, very much in vogue, because it's the right product at the right time for the right person. And that's honestly why I decided to join.
And so you touched on it a little bit, but how does one sort of balance their own financial security with leaving that legacy? Because
Yes.
it's a bit of a song and dance. Like, okay, I can start pulling out now, but then
What if I live too long?
Yeah, what if I
What
live
if I
too
live
long?
too darn long? And yeah, and that can be an issue. But what I also forgot when I was trying to figure out all the numbers, and I did write a piece called "It's Time to Reverse Your Thoughts on Reverse Mortgages," because your home continues to appreciate. And so if you want to leave a financial legacy, it's still there. Let's say down the road you have to leave your home. You may not want to, but you have to. You still have equity in your home, because healthcare can be a huge cost down the road. And so I understand that element of it. But I don't think there is a child out there that would ask realistically their parent to compromise their lifestyle so that they could go buy a home, for example. And in fact, I am on Instagram. You and I are going to connect.
Yes.
and one of the things I do weekly is Ask Patty. And just yesterday, on one of my Ask Patty segments, someone said, how do I balance helping my children out to buy their home and my own retirement? And I responded by saying, you know, understanding how much money you have, where your money's coming from in retirement, what it is you want to spend your money on. And let's not forget, we could spend a third of our life in retirement. And so we might live much longer, or maybe too darn long. Yeah. We may live much longer than we thought. So it is balancing the two out. But what I'll tell you is it's not an either or, it's an and.
Right.
But you do it when you understand your options and your numbers.
I always say I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So
why does your mother keep shaking her head over there? I'm just asking the question. She's heard it before.
My husband always says, do you ever notice your parents look at you like you're an alien? I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. I
felt it.
Known them my whole life. You can see it. I can feel it, because I can't really turn around, but I know you see it.
I see
So
it.
are there any restrictions or limitations on how the funds from a reverse mortgage can be used to support legacy goals? Like, what if I say, I want to take all my money out and build a cat sanctuary in Bali?
Okay. No, yeah, well, you could do that.
You weren't expecting that, right?
I honestly didn't see that one
really
coming.
Threw you
I'm
for
thinking
a loop
of taking our family to Disney World. Okay, we're just on different planes here. But you know what? No, that's the flexibility of this particular product. Because it's in essence your money, and you get to decide what you're going to do with it.
Right.
And you know, people will often say, but there are costs and there are fees. And yes, there are costs. But there are costs to every product, every service out there. And that's okay. And even when, you know, people feel like, oh my goodness, it's too expensive, is it more expensive than the cost of missing out on a memory? And I don't want to sound motherhood by saying it that way, but as you progress through life, you realize that there is so much more that you want to do and that you want to share. And so I get back to you could build that sanctuary if you choose to do so.
Thank you. That was
Yeah,
so nice.
well,
My
but-
first donation. Thank you.
But let me put the other context around it. Did I mention the age of 55? I'm just going to say.
I just turned 55, so that's perfect.
No, you did not.
I did not. No, I did not.
You did not.
So I do.
We already heard you're 30.
Yeah, I just turned 30. Yeah, I'm getting caught in all my lies now. So I did want to wrap this up by
Yes.
asking the question I've asked everyone: what is your story, and what is the legacy that you're hoping to leave?
You know, I just want our family, specifically our family and our extended family, to know that I cared, that I wanted to be present, and that I did everything I could so that it wasn't about the numbers. It's not about the financial legacy. It's going to be about the memory. It's going to be about the lessons that I teach them. It's going to be about the things I get to experience with them. I am going to look after the financial side, the charitable side, but it's up to us to deal with the human side.
Thank you. And I do, before I wrap up, just want to remind everyone about the book.
I like the book. Oh, the book.
The book.
The book.
So you can phone 1-833-357-2447. That's 1-833-357-2447 to get your free copy. Thank you so much for
Natasha,
joining
thanks
me
for
today.
having me. Thank you. Thank you.